Good afternoon. I'm the Reverend Joan Javier Duval, and I welcome you to the Unitarian Church of Montpelier. We are gathered here today to celebrate the life of Norma Harvey Raymond, a mother, grandmother, sister, aunt, a loyal friend, an active community member, and until her death at 101 years old, the oldest living member of this congregation. Today we form a circle of remembrance and gratitude. We come as family, as friends, neighbors, and members of this beloved church. In this moment, we are one community, those seated here in this sanctuary and those holding Norma in their hearts from afar. I want to especially recognize Norma's family, more than 40 of you strong present here in the sanctuary, spanning multiple generations gathered here in love. Present is the Raymond family. Feel free to give a wave if you'd like. The Harvey family and the Obie family. Welcome to each and every one of you. And to all who mourn Norma's passing, we offer our deepest sympathy and our heartfelt presence. This afternoon, we come to remember Norma. We celebrate a life well lived, a life filled with strength and generosity, joy and resilience. We also come to say goodbye, to honor the ache of absence, and to hold space for our sorrow. We remember Norma across the wide arc of her 101 years. The Norma of decades past, the Norma of more recent days, the one who stood strong and the one who needed care, the woman of laughter and jokes and dry humor, and the woman who weathered sorrow. We mourn what her absence now leaves behind, the formidable presence she brought to a room, the conversations shared over cards, and the relationships that might have grown even deeper with more time. Yet we know that Norma's presence endures. She lives on in the stories that we will tell today, that we have been telling for the past few months, and in the ones that we carry quietly with us. She lives on in each person here, in the ways that she shaped us and in the love she gave. Each of you knew Norma in your own way. To know two people, was she exactly the same? She grew and she evolved, and she met each person with a unique spirit. And so we bring with us a mosaic of memories of her joy in welcoming new great-grandchildren into the world, of shared meals at Women's Alliance potlucks, of the familiar comfort of her signature ham loaf, the recipe, of course, on the back of your program today. These moments and countless others weave together the story of her life. And it is that life, full and rich and deeply human, that we celebrate today. Throughout our service, you'll hear reflections, remembrances, and music. Norma had a special fondness for the organ here in this church, and we're grateful to have Lynette Combs with us this afternoon to honor that love through music. As the notes rise and waft through the air, may they stir your own memories. May they call forth the moments that you shared with Norma, the laughter, the quiet, the connection. And as we begin our service, we light the chalice, a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. I share these words by Albert Schweitzer. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. We will now share in viewing a beautiful video tribute to Norma.
Okay, this one's for Gabby. Someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dream that you dare to, oh why can't well, I see trees of green and red roses too. I watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white and the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, singing, how do you do? They really say, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
used to, we were there was one house between our house and the schoolhouse. So so we used to use the schoolyard, playground mainly for baseball. And we played baseball if we could get enough kids together in the village to play. We were short many times, very short of players, but um, because Route 12 went right by the schoolhouse, we used to have to, fielders had to be across the road from the schoolhouse. And two of the fielders stayed on the side on the side of the road and tried to catch up with the lawnmowers. We'd had to. I was designated to go over there and be the fielder because I could throw the ball back to the catcher or second baseman or whatever. And the schoolhouse was one room, and it had two entrance doors on the front. The one on the right, as you're looking at it, was the girls' door, and the one on the left, boys' door. And the bathrooms were outhouses in back of the school. So hitched onto the school, but somebody went out there, you could hear everything. So the walls in the school were so thin, I guess. You could hear anything, so lots of kids who didn't want to go to the bathroom there.
Thank you, Doug, and all those who contributed to that wonderful tribute. We now move into a time of sharing spoken remembrances of Norma. Norma joined this church at the tender age of 18 at the invitation of a neighbor friend who was just a few years older. That invitation marked the beginning of a relationship with this community that would span 83 years. Over those decades, Norma experienced the ministry of at least 7 different ministers, and she was present as a church delegate at the historic denominational meeting that led to the consolidation of the American Unitarian Association and Universalist Church of America in 1961. When I came on the scene 10 years ago here at UCM, many decades after Norma had first walked through these doors, she was among the people who helped me feel welcomed. One of the very first things that she shared with me during my candidate week in the spring of 2015, before I was even officially the minister, she shared that her older son had just died by suicide. And this was a formative event for Norma. She carried that grief with her through the decade that followed. She held it quietly, but held it fully, a mother's grief that never quite left her. I learned quickly that Norma had a clear sense of who she was and what this church was. According to Norma, this had always been a Unitarian church. Never mind our official membership in the Unitarian Universalist Association. And she was not shy in expressing her opinions. More than once, she told me that she felt the church was becoming too Christian, even though Jesus was only mentioned twice a year. Norma was adamantly humanist in her theological orientation, and she never wavered in that. As she approached her final days, family and close friends tried to gently help her reflect on and share her end-of-life wishes. I provided a form with various prompts, questions about what she might want read or spoken at her deathbed. She didn't write much on the form, but in response to the question about meditations, readings, prayers, she underlined the word prayer and wrote above it in capital letters, N-O. And you can be sure no prayers were recited at her bedside in those final days. Norma was fiercely loyal to this church and to her ideas of what this church stood for. Her love for this place was rooted in deep conviction and in her service to this community over many decades in many ways. She held that devotion with clarity and strength. In a personal reflection that Norma wrote and shared in a worship service in 2017, she wrote the following: I have been blessed with 4 grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren, 1 great-great-grandchild, and a lot of patience. In my life ahead, I am hoping to stay well and to continue to be active in the church and with the Women's Alliance. I have found that this church has given me the power and the strength that I possess. The friends I have met here, present and past, give me solace, courage, and love. This support meant more than I can say when my son took his life in 2015. I thank you all. In all my life, I have never met anyone quite like Norma Raymond. She was honest and down to earth. She didn't sugarcoat her opinions or pretend to feel something she didn't. She held her sorrows and pain close, always portraying strength and stoicism. And yet, she feared death in her own way. She truly didn't want to die or leave us all. Even as it became clear in her final months that her time was nearing an end, she was still making plans to get more involved again at UCM, hold another fundraiser, cook another meal. Norma was a unique soul. She lived with integrity, loyalty, and fierce independence. Her presence in this congregation stretched across generations and so many changes. Her absence is so deeply felt, and her memory will remain with us in the place that she helped shape and among the people whom she so devotedly loved. And we will now have a chance to hear from the Obie cousins, Rachel Griggs, followed by Martha Coda and Corinne Bissonette. We welcome you forward.
Good afternoon. I don't remember Norma, my life without Norma in it. She was treasured by all of us Obie cousins. Our sister Jean isn't well enough to attend this service today and asked if I would read what she would want to express if she was here. And I quote, Norma was like a member of our family. She has been an inspiration for all of us as she dealt with many, many difficulties during her long, long life. She and our mother, Mildred, were like sisters. They were especially close, and they shared the same kind of humor. Whenever we opened Mom's door and Norma was there, they were joking and laughing, usually playing cards. During our mother's last year of life, Norma spent a lot of time with Mom, which enabled us to be with our own families. We loved you, Norma. as one of our family, and yours was certainly a life well lived. Rest in peace, dear lady.
I'm Rachel Obie. I loved going to visit Norma. We would get together and go up together in a group and either take her out to lunch and then later on just bring lunch and always bring chocolate. And I just want to share quickly one thing that she did with us. When Dad passed away, she would spend a lot of time with Mom, and on Thanksgiving, they would come to our house in Grand Isle, which was about an hour away from Mom's house in Heinsberg. And she continued on, and after Mom passed, my daughter Stephanie, who lives in Barrie, would pick her up and bring her to our house for Thanksgiving. And the last time she came, which was just a couple years ago, and I asked her if she wanted some eggnog. And she said, "Oh, I'd love some. Do you have anything to put in it?" And so I said, "Okay, what would you like? We have rum." And she said, "Oh, yeah, I like rum." So I fixed her a glass of eggnog with rum. And a little later, I noticed her glass was empty, and I said, "Norma, would you like some more eggnog?" "Yes, but put more rum in it this time." We loved her. We miss her. She was a super lady.
Over the years, groups of us Obie cousins would take turns visiting Norma, first with our mom, then continued after she passed. We would drive up Old Town Road, load the old girl in the car. She always had to ride shotgun and was our travel guide as we drove around the back roads of East Montpelier, Barrie, and Berlin, then stopping for lunch out. We even visited the Putnamville house and located Brad's gravesite at the cemetery. We will miss her quick wit and knowledge of our area around her beautiful home on the hill. And with us is our brother Steve and his wife Terry today.
My earliest memory, and that's lasted forever, about Norma was you saw a picture of Greg standing near the old Model A Ford. She used to, when they came down, you could hear the ooh, ooh, ooh. And I just fell in love with that car. It was unbelievable. But I was unprepared for a speech, but I just wanted to let you know that's one thing that I remember the most.
I'd like to invite up Norma's grandchildren, Molly, Brooke, and Ben, followed by Nancy Scholes, Rachel Grossman, and Greg Raymond.
Before we start, there was a bet going to see who would cry first, me or Brooke. We both lost.
He went first.
He went first.
Molly wasn't a part of it. She doesn't know how to cry.
So we're here to celebrate our incredible grandma, Gigi to most of us, who packed 101 years with a whole lot of life, love, and let's be honest, some very strong opinions.
And she wasn't afraid to share those opinions, often with great enthusiasm.
When we were discussing what to say about Gigi, we naturally just started trading stories of her throughout our lifetime, or stories she told us about her childhood and her upbringing. So we thought, what better way to remember her than to tell some of these stories?
One memory that all three of us have always had was the time she took us to the theater in Montpelier to see the movie called The Goonies. She thought it would be a family, fun film. We were about 6, 10, and 12 years old. But the moment a curse word slipped out of the screen, you'd think we'd personally offended her. She talked about that story every year for the last 40 years.
Gigi made it to 101, saw a whole century of change, and had more stories than a library. But the one she never got tired of telling, literally every time we talked, was the day she tried nachos for the first time with me. And airport nachos, no less. How she made it through 60 years without trying nachos, we'll never know.
My Gigi food story was when I was probably 10, and I had her buy me some Golden Graham cereal. For the next 40 years, she would occasionally ask me if they still made them and if I still ate them. Every time I walk down the cereal aisle and I see Golden Grahams, I kind of have to chuckle to myself.
And you could always count on a delicious shepherd's pie and biscuit dinner at her table. It was her go-to comfort food and my favorite. And all of you may know her famous ham loaf.
Another thing about Gigi, she was an outgoing person. Remember when she dyed her hair at 100? She was always game for something new and different, especially if it came with a fun color. She absolutely loved purple, as you all know. If it came in violet, lavender, or plum, she had it. From her clothes to her accessories, she brought a little splash of purple almost everywhere she went.
Her sense of style was even inflicted on me the summer I spent at her house when I was 10 years old. My fashion sense that summer was heavily influenced by Gigi's thrift store finds. When I flew home at the end of my weeks with her, I got off the plane dressed like a tiny senior citizen. I can still see my mom and dad laughing at me when they spotted me coming off the plane. Yeah.
Summers at Grandma's were like our own little adventures. Flying there on our own as kids made us feel so grown up. And once we got to her house, anything was possible. Her place was our playground. We could turn into anything. She used to pack snacks in the backpack for Ben, and he would hike up the hill beside her house like he was scaling a mountain. Brooke and I used to love playing teacher or office at the house.
In fact, Gigi would take me to her office where she worked, and I would get to bring home ledger books and carbon paper, and I spent the summer at her house playing office. She had an adding machine with receipt tape and a huge safe that we cracked into to lock up our fake money. Maybe that's when Molly and I were inspired for our careers today as accountants.
Back in the early 50s, Gigi was ahead of her time. She pretty much became the town's first unofficial school bus driver. In an email exchange that I had with her in 2018, she said, I started taking Brad to school in 1951 because the town didn't have a bus. Pretty soon neighbors asked if I'd take their kids too. It got crowded fast, so I bought a Chevy Suburban, ripped out the insides, added benches, and even welded a homemade school bus sign to the roof. She did it all for free at first until the school board offered her $1 a day to pick up even more kids, eventually 17 in total. She said it barely covered gas and oil, but she kept it up for 8 or 9 years. That was just Gigi, always giving. She even picked up hitchhikers from time to time, which definitely made our parents nervous, but her heart was always in the right place.
But don't let Gigi's kindness fool you. She wasn't a pushover. I'll never forget the time she and her friend Jifka got mooned by a car full of guys on the highway. Instead of letting it slide, they pulled off at the next exit, found a payphone, and called the cops. We still don't know to this day if they've been caught.
Her community involvement was legendary. It's no surprise she was Citizen of the Year in Montpelier in 2012. She was always looking out for others.
And her dedication to the church never wavered. It was truly a lifelong devotion. She'd been a member since she was 18. I remember her once listing off all of the ministers the church had gone through over the years, and I joked, "You know this place better than anyone. You should just get ordained and become the next minister yourself." Her response was, "Thanks for thinking of that, but I've done all the preaching I need to. I think it's time to take a sabbatical, right?"
When I mentioned I could go to seminary school and I could be the new minister, Gigi responded, "Ben, this is an honorable profession, but the congregation must vote, and I'm afraid you would get 0 votes." I responded, "Not even 1 vote from my own grandmother?" And she said, "Do you want me to lie?" She was always very honest with us, which we loved.
She also told us, in her own words, "Church members and others are always asking me historical questions. I am happy and proud to be an active member all these years. It has kept me sane." Even during the pandemic, she embraced technology to stay connected with her church through Zoom. She was a true testament to staying engaged with the world.
Outside of the church, she loved to stay engaged with her friends by going out to eat or playing cards. Pinochle was a constant card game being played at family get-togethers for over the years. More recently, the game she played with family and friends was 5 Crowns. She was still playing right up to her last days. Whenever she would make a mistake, she would let out a loud, "Shoot!" which we always found very amusing.
Another game she loved was baseball. I remember talking with Gigi about the Red Sox, her favorite team, just like her father Ralph, who we called Poppy. We would talk about the Sox, especially around 2004 when they broke the curse. I'll never forget one night, late, definitely past her bedtime, she called me right after the game, clearly fired up. She didn't even say hello, she just launched into it. Can you believe that? What was the manager thinking, pulling the starting pitcher like that so early? I remember sitting there on the phone, half laughing, half agreeing, thinking, yep, this woman is 80-something years old, and she's still passionately second-guessing bullpen decisions like a true fan.
Gigi was the ultimate keeper of memories. If you ever wondered what you were like as a toddler, she probably had a detailed account and a photographic evidence tucked away somewhere. She was sharp in so many ways. What Gigi did have a deep understanding of was our family history. She was like a walking, talking encyclopedia of our lineage. It's amazing the stories and connections we've lost with her passing. Her knowledge was truly a treasure.
Sorry. Yes, just recently I was trying to remember something from years ago, and my first thought was, I'll call Gigi. That has been the hardest part of her being gone, not being able to talk with her. It's like we've lost a living journal of knowledge. Her house had more artifacts than the National Archives.
So that was our Gigi, full of strong opinions, surprising quirks, incredible knowledge and memory, and so much love.
Whether she was dyeing her hair pink at 100,
Or lecturing about the Red Sox bullpen decisions at 11 p.m.
Or reminiscing about nachos, Gigi lived every single day with a sense of purpose and a sense of humor. We're gonna miss her like crazy, but we'll hold on tight to all the funny, sweet, and unforgettable memories she gave us. And wherever she is now, we're pretty sure she's telling them how to run the place thoroughly. Thank you.
Today is World Naked Bike Ride Day. Norma, I think, is getting a kick knowing it's happening during her memorial service. It was 30 years ago in 1995 when I first came to this church. Before long, I learned that there's a pantheon of Unitarian women, the ones who make this place run. They are dedicated, smart, quick to laugh, a classy bunch. Some are no longer with us. Some I'm really happy to see are here today. Norma Raymond was solidly positioned in the center of this group. On July 15, 2018, when Norma turned 95, there was a birthday party for her here on the North Lawn. The fact that over 90 people came was a testament to the love and affection everyone felt for her. She was a fixture in the town of East Montpelier and a pillar of this church. Will there ever be anyone who surpasses her record of 83 years as a member? Over the decades, Norma played many roles in both civic life and in the life of this church. She worked hard, but she also liked to play. Perhaps you remember when Norma dyed her hair and attention-getting color for Halloween, not realizing that the dye she chose wouldn't wash out prior to coming to church on Sunday. Not to worry. Norma's hair always looked awesome, no matter what color it was. Perhaps you remember driving by her house on Town Hill Road 25 years ago after she chose exotic pink as the daring new color for her shutters. It was this playfulness that endeared her to me and to so many others. Despite having multiple surgeries, injuries, and chronic health issues, Norma never let those things define her or dominate the conversation. She was interested in local news, national and international events, and of course, what was going on at this church. I felt that I could ask her anything, and I felt I could tell her anything. She always seemed happy to see me, and she always seemed eager to hear whatever I might want to share with her. Last December, Ann Ferguson and I visited her at Woodridge. Norma was fully dressed and sitting on the side of the bed, awaiting the arrival of dinner. The other side of the bed had two big, heavy chairs that would have been very difficult to move in the cramped space of her room. So we thought we would stand during our visit. Norma, however, would have none of that. She rolled onto her back, lifted her legs high in the air, swung her body to the other side of the bed, and sat upright with the speed and agility of an 8-year-old. So she could face us while we sat in the two chairs. Watching her move, it was hard to believe she was over 101 and in a nursing home. Norma had spunk and the self-confidence to give voice to her strong opinions. During the first administration of our current president, Norma left a message on our answering machine, which expressed exactly how she felt about him. I didn't save the message, but I remember thinking, "You go, girl," as I listened to it. Last July, over lunch at the Red Hen, in celebration of her 101st birthday, I asked Norma what recommendations she had for her fellow citizens. She said that she thought people should, quote, mind their own business, unquote, and should, quote, volunteer their time, unquote. I think we can probably all agree that her sage advice becomes more spot on with each passing day. Although the shutters on Norma's home are now a different color, Ann and I have many fond memories of our warm, spirited friend who had the playfulness to choose exotic pink.
We moved into our home on Brazier Road in October 1982. I have no idea how we met Norma, but somehow we connected early on. One day, shortly after we met, Norma called and asked me if I would go door to door in the neighborhood to solicit donations for the American Cancer Society. There's really nothing I dislike much more than asking people for donations, even for a good cause. And up to that point in my life, I had managed to avoid it quite successfully. But could you say no to Norma? I couldn't. So I got up my nerve and set out to do the job. It turned out to be the best welcome to the neighborhood gift she could have given me. My territory was about a dozen or so houses near my own house. It was a wonderful way to meet people in the neighborhood. They were happy to give to the cause, and I sat at many a kitchen table, enjoying good conversation while getting to know my new neighbors. Did Norma have that as an ulterior motive when she asked me? I never asked, but I strongly suspect that she did. So many memories in 42 years of friendship, cheering for Norma Raymond, East Montpelier Citizen of the Year, driving through central Vermont with Norma while she told me who lived in every house, visiting the Putnam Mill house where she grew up and the nearby schoolhouse, driving all over Barrie and Barrytown to find the Barrie Airport. Who knew? Going out for creamies, many milestone birthday parties for Norma starting around age 90. And our family will never forget the epic Christmas 2022 pajama party we had at our home on Brazier Road with Norma, who had no heat because of the power outage. Lots of fun times together. Norma was also a strong presence in the lives of our children. My daughter Leah found her an important role model for a strong woman. Here's what Leah has to say about Norma. She was gutsy and smart and brave, well before it was expected for girls to have those characteristics. She shared stories of how she played baseball with the boys as a kid, and she noted, but ignored, the limits that society expected of her based on her gender. My son Ari chimed in with his sister, both kids agreeing that, quote, Norma was a reliable, loving community member in our neighborhood and in her church, and someone who fiercely defended her independence, even at age 100. Even though that wasn't always easy for her or everyone else, we feel grateful that we got to witness her making her own choices. Greg and Jean and Norma's friends showed us how to care and support such a fiercely independent woman. What an amazing role model Norma was for us. We grew up reading and watching stories that told us that there's just one linear way to grow up and be an adult in the world. So it was incredibly important to see Norma embody complexity at an age older than any of us could imagine being. End quote. Beyond all those wonderful memories is who Norma Raymond was and what an inspiration she was. Serving her community and church, speaking out at town meeting, scolding us when necessary, and always, always showing us how to be good citizens and good neighbors. There were some hard times thrown in, and we either remember them or not. For 42 years, we were there for one another, and that's what matters. We miss you, Norma. Rest in peace.
You've already heard a lot of great stories about Mom. I express my deep gratitude to all of you who have supported her over the years. There are far too many to thank individually, and I'd surely overlook someone. But especially I want to acknowledge those who have contributed to her life with the following things. And the first thing I'd like to say is thanks to Lynette for being here today, playing that organ. Mom would have been so happy. For those that took her to the pharmacy, the grocery store, doctors, dentists, urgent care, trips to the hospital emergency department. There were a few of those. And staying there for hours until the determination of admit or go home. For those that supported her with many visitations with her stays at the hospital or at Woodridge, and sometimes getting a call, "I'm going home today, can you come and get me?" And those visitations during the COVID year at Heaton Woods, especially her birthday that year. That was pretty special with the birthday routine. You already heard this one, but for those that rescued her from her freezing home during an extended power outage. Trips around her beloved East Montpelier, and at every turn, she'd have a story of who lives there, who used to live there, and she'd say the same thing every time we went by, as if it were the first time. And she would give you directions, even though you knew the route every time. The happiest she was is when she got to go stay with her Aunt Mildred, who was more like a sister, and those OB family reunions. Friday lunches and an afternoon of playing cards. Being involved with the Women's Alliance, which she dearly loved. Pecans and ham loaf. That's the thing that comes to my mind every time. Those who sat with Mom and just went through the old photos and talked about family history. Those who bought Mom garden vegetables, homemade raspberry jam, soups, pies, many other goodies. Zoom sessions, especially with Brother Jim. Those home share folks and the medical people who rented a room from her, they all became friends. Those who took her to the concerts on the lawn. Those who viewed with her on her lawn the total eclipse, which Mom was the only one there to see the total eclipse twice, 2024 and 1932. Those who would sit with her and watch the full moon on her deck and shovel the deck and shovel to the propane tanks, which was very important. And thanks to Reverend Joan for many visitations over the years, and especially the last few weeks and the last few days. I'll finish with one thing about Mom. Over 40 years ago, when we lived in Nebraska, Mom shipped a piano to our daughter Brooke when she was 7. Brooke still has that piano. And in the video montage you saw earlier, there were 3 songs. The third song was Brooke playing On My Own from Les Mis on that piano. Mom would have been so happy.
Let us share now in a moment of quiet reflection and gratitude, giving thanks that each of our paths crossed and overlapped with Norma Raymond's, whether for decades or for just a few years or months. Let us be thankful that we had the chance to know this unique and wonderful human being who has touched each of our lives in so many ways. And I invite us all to join our voices in a hymn that you can find in the gray book in the pews. It's number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Lynette will play it once through, and then we'll all join together. And please rise in body or spirit. The poet May Sarton wrote, "I would like to believe when I die that I have given myself away like a tree that sows seeds every spring and never counts the loss, because it is not loss, it is adding to future life. It is the tree's way of being, strongly rooted, perhaps, but spilling out its treasure on the wind." Norma's life was certainly a treasure. She sowed seeds of connection, clarity, care, and fun in all who knew her. And with her death, those seeds are still being carried forward, cast out into the world on the wind of our shared memory. As we close this service, let us lift our hearts in gratitude for the long and rooted life of Norma Harvey Raymond. May we honor her spirit in the days to come through our honest words, thoughtful service, grounded wisdom, and our playfulness too. We now extinguish the flame of our chalice, but we carry with us its warmth, just as we carry the presence of Norma in our stories, in our actions, and in the spaces she once so fully inhabited. Following the service, you are warmly invited to join Norma's family for a reception downstairs in the vestry. There, you'll also find a guest book, and we invite you to write down your memories and stories to share with her family and loved ones. Thank you all for being here.